Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the Guardians of the Galaxy Wave Marvel Legends VANCE ASTRO. I don't know why, I always want to call him ASTRO VANCE. Does anybody else have that issue, or I'm just crazy? That's okay. So I was actually really excited for this guy, even though I'd never heard of him before, just because I really like the color scheme. I mean, how can you not like pearlescent blue and pearlescent white mixed together? That's a nice combo. And I have to say, they disappointed. It's not painted especially well, and we're going to talk about that in detail, especially since that's like all this guy is paint. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. So this guy stands just over 6.5 inches, which makes him just about closer to 17 centimeters, right around there. So here's the thing. Hasbro is notoriously good at metallic paint. They've done a really good job when they've used it. So I was very excited for this guy. I thought they would mold him in a kind of a nice marbly white plastic and then paint the blue and it would look great. And they didn't do that. They did not do that, so that's kind of disappointing. They did it in some cases, but not all of them. Before we go on, I will point out he does come with an accessory, which is the Captain America shield, which we all have like a billion of at this point. So if you wanted one of those, you got another one of those. Okay, so on to this whole paint job molding issue. The biggest part of his body, right here, they molded it in blue and painted the white. They're notoriously bad at painting white, and that is obvious here. It's very milky, it's very thick looking, it doesn't look good, it's not clean, there's lots of chips and gouges and glops in there. It does not look good at all. Now they did mold the white for the arms and for the legs, and then they painted the blue on top of that, which, hey look, it turned out pretty nice. The arms are nice and clean looking, the legs nice and clean looking, the chest and shoulders molded in blue, painted white, not nice and clean looking. Different white, different blue. Does not look good at all. It should have all been molded in white and then painted blue, except for maybe the crotch and hips, maybe the lower legs. They could have got away with just molding it to save money and because you don't want to paint everything. Fine. Even if the blues were just slightly off, that would have been fine. As you can see here, the blues are slightly off. They could have probably done better. But even if that was the only issue, I'd be okay with that because it makes sense. But to paint this white does not make sense at all, and it looks really bad. Same for the shoulders. Very disappointed in that. I would have been able to pass it all up if it wasn't for that, so kind of bummed out. We do have this logo on here, which is surprisingly clean, but that's just tampography, so it's not really that surprising. They don't have to really do anything. The machine just plops it on there and it's good. So other issue, I mean, this is all remolded figure, so I'm pointing out these problems because we've already seen everything else before. The other issue is the head. While it is a nice head sculpt, it's starting to teeter back towards Luke Cage or even Vision. It almost looks like an upscaled Vision head, or what's the green guy, the neon green clear plastic guy? I can't think of his name right now, but it almost looks like that guy. So they're getting a little bit too close to that head sculpt again, but still it's a really nice head sculpt on its own merits, so I do like that a whole bunch, and the eyes are fairly well painted, so that's cool. Alright, so let's just quickly run through the articulation in case you're not familiar with this mold. I do think they might have adjusted the shoulders on it too, so that's kind of cool. So the head is on our standard hinge. You can lean it back. Actually, you can lean it back surprisingly far, and then you can lean it forward a little bit. I also have to point out, the head is seated properly on this figure. It's not too high. They did it. They gave us one where the head sits properly on the neck. I like that a whole bunch. You can't lean it side to side, but I am okay with that because he doesn't look like a lollipop or a microphone stand. I like that a whole bunch. The head sits on the neck just the way it's supposed to. Look at that. Alright, and then for the shoulders, they seem to work a little bit better than they used to, like when we saw this body on Grim Reaper. So that's okay. That's pretty good. It could be better, but it's okay. It'll rotate all the way around, no problem. You do have your bicep swivel. Those do have a bit of an issue. The way they're so swoopy in that mold right there, it bumps into the shoulder muscles, so you can't move it quite that well. Double jointed elbow, that works fine. Wrist swivel and hinge. Wow, it's really stiff for the swivel, but you do have that, so that's cool. Ab crunch on this guy. He does go back one click and then goes forward one click, so definitely not the best ab crunch. Waist twist, it works fine. It's interesting that they put that ratchet mechanism in the waist. It's totally unnecessary, but it's there, and I guess that's okay, although Here's the thing about ratchets, and I'm going to talk about that for a second because why not? Ratchets are nice because they hold the figure in its pose, but they also give you very limited options. So if you look, we either have neutral or pretty far turn. It's like 30 degrees almost. So it does limit your options. I mean, 2 clicks already takes us to almost completely 90 degrees. So it does limit your posing options to an extent. For the hips, we can bring the leg all the way forward. He can kick pretty high, so that's cool. Going out to the side, and not quite 40, 45. So that's it's not great. Thigh swivels are fine. Double jointed knee works just fine. It's very stiff, but it works. And then we have a shin swivel, which is not fine, but it's better than most. So if you want a shin swivel, this is not a bad one, so that's okay. It's just not perfect. And then for the ankle, pretty limited going forward. You can force it and get a little bit more out of it, but not too much. Going back is fine. Then you have your ankle rocker, which is okay. So ultimately, other than the paint, I can overlook everything. But painting this centerpiece white, that is just a no-go. Anybody who saw that on paper and said, hey, we're going to paint white over metallic blue molded plastic, yeah, no, that should have been a no. That's, as you can see, they don't do a good job with it. So otherwise, I actually like this guy. It's not perfect, but for what it is, and that's what he's supposed to be, they did a decent job. Even the line work is mostly clean. It's just that white torso that really throws it off. So I like it, but be aware of those issues before you buy it. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So turn on notifications. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And in the meantime, keep collecting.